Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rosanna and I go by Bright and Dusty here on YouTube and on Instagram. This is a channel about cross stitch and I think this is my Flosstube number 15. It's been a little less than a month since my last video. Yeah, so my last video I ended up surpassing 1,000 subscribers, which was a huge milestone. When I started this channel last December, I never in a million years thought that that would happen. So that's really cool. And I will later on in the video do a giveaway to celebrate surpassing 1,000 subscribers. So stick around for that. If you like this content, please consider subscribing to my channel. So yeah, I busted out my big apple pin here because here in upstate New York, we are all about the apple cider donuts and stuff like that at this time of year. And the weather is starting to get a little cooler, so I'm getting into the spirit. But for today, I have my first ever on this channel SAF, which stands for Start and Finish. So it's a small finish, but I do have a SAF. And other than that, I just have a few whips, and you'll see why I don't have very many in a few minutes. But I have a few whips to go through. And then other than that, I have like a little haul combined with a Save the Stitches segment. And then at the end, I think I will do a Dimensions kit parade, and you'll see why later on. But so if that sounds interesting to you, please stay for that. But to get into my SAF, I don't know why that acronym just is funny to me. But Start and Finish, I started this on October 31st, Halloween. Don't ask me why, because it is actually a Christmas ornament. But I started it October 31st, and then I finished it today, which is November 3rd. As of recording, it's November 3rd. And the reason... quick little story, I was thinking last week that I wanted to do some Christmas ornaments, some Christmas smalls for November, December. And I was like, well, should I order some Mill Hill kits? What should I do? And then I was just thinking, I have all these magazines, cross-stitch magazines. Mostly they are World of Cross Stitching, or just cross stitch, and they're just random issues that I have collected out thrifting over the past year or so. And I just realized like they were scattered around the house. Some of them were out in my shed, and I was like, I don't even know really what is in these magazines. I had a bunch of like Christmas ornament editions. So finally, I just decided I was going to collect them all and organize them all and actually look through them, which was no small undertaking. That took me a while to look through them all, but I can show a picture here, like the box of them that I have, my magazines, and then you can see I have these little post-it notes now on the covers where I just list out the things that potentially I would like to stitch at some point. So now I have them all organized and figured out like what I like in them, and then I just went ahead and stitched an ornament. So this ornament is from, I gotta make sure I get the right issue here, just Cross Stitch Christmas Ornaments edition from 2023, so last year's Christmas ornaments. And here is what that one looks like. So I picked an ornament out of here, and here it is. So you can see it is a little mouse with a candle. It turned out so cute. This was my first cross stitch on perforated paper, and it has beads and it has some sparkly thread. The sparkly thread, I used DMC metallic, and it's black. I'm gonna pop in a little video here where I can show it kind of shimmering in better lighting, because it is pretty sparkly. I think it's gonna look really nice on the Christmas tree. So I'm really delighted with how this came out. Yeah, so just a few days. And the nice thing was I had all of the materials already just in my stash, so I didn't have to buy anything for this. Yeah, and to me it looks just as good as like a Mill Hill kit. So I might do that for some more ornaments that I found in these magazines. So of course I still have to fully finish it. I'm gonna have to figure out how to cut it out, put some backing on it. I'll probably watch like Helen D or someone who has a tutorial for how to do that. And hopefully by the next time I do a video, I can show the finished product. But yeah, this was in the Ornament magazine, but the designer is Fanci That. So that was my finish. And then my whips. All right. So just for some context, this was the piece that I had pulled out for Sampler September, and it is Crocette Go-Go Winter Sampler. I'm gonna put a picture here of what it looked like on September 10th when I took it out to start working on it for Sampler September. So this picture is from September 10th. This is what I had done in September. And here is what it looks like now. So I don't know what got into me, but I just got going on this and I didn't stop. I have finished the entire interior. All that's left is border. And I mean, this is a massive border, so I'm not done yet, obviously, and that border is going to take a while, but I am thrilled that I finished the interior of this. Yeah, basically, I think I had in my mind that I was gonna want to start some things in November, some bigger things. And I just knew I was gonna feel better about that if I was close to being done with one of my larger whips. So that's why I kind of abandoned my Halloween stitching in October, to be honest with you, for the most part, and I just worked on this. But that's fine. I am happy with that decision now that this is like almost done. My goal is probably to finish it by January 1st, which I think is doable. One thing I did want to mention, I don't know, this may have been updated at this point, but there was an error in the chart, like around these two berries here. And that it was on a page break, so I didn't catch it, and I ended up having to frog a little bit. It wasn't a big deal, but just so you're aware, like check your chart if you're thinking of working on this or whatever. Like I said, it may have been updated at this point, because I got this last year, but just a heads up. So 36 count vintage country mocha linen, and I'm stitching 2/2 with call for DMCs. Yeah, I'm like, I'm so tired of these pine trees. There was a big pine trees, and then there's all those little ones, and I had to stitch one of them over again because it was off by one square. I had to frog it, and I had to stitch it all over again, so I actually had to stitch like an extra tree. I was very annoyed. But that is life as a cross stitcher. So that is my major whip that I made significant progress on. I also made some progress on Primitive Needle Halloween Revelry from the 2009 Halloween edition of Just Cross Stitch. Here's what it looks like. So the last time I didn't have the cats and I didn't have the moon, so or this broom actually. So I have made some good headway. I think at some point I'll just get in the mood to finish something, and I'll be able to just tackle this and get it done. 'Cause it's getting pretty close. 40 count sand by Picture This Plus, stitching 1/2 with overdyed floss from Stash. And then I think this is technically my last whip. I do have a couple new starts, but my last whip, Widower Frog by Night Spirit Studio. So this is the one that I had worked on for stitching the Chicago Marathon for Andrew, the runner stitcher, in mid-October. So I did make some progress. Mostly I think it's the table is what I did. But yeah, I really like how this is looking. And the colors are showing up pretty well. Even though like his clothes are darker colors, but they're still standing out pretty well. I like this pattern. There is a lot, Night Spirit Studio like plays around a lot with negative space. Because you can see there's a lot of areas where it's like not filled in. It's really cool. But I'm really happy with this. And this is a mystery linen that I dye myself. Looking pretty good. Okay, so those are my whips. New starts. I did actually start Plum Street Sampler, the Gather In, which is a really big project, but I had the pattern, and I had a large piece of I think it's called Rustico Ada, or maybe Oatmeal Ada. I'm not sure which one. It wasn't labeled, because I found it in like a stash of Ada. So as you can see, I have started with Calliope, the gentle steed. That's her name right there. So the horse. And I'm stitching this with DMCs. I decided I did not want to bother getting the overdyes. And I love the way it looks. I don't know, there's something about this design that just, to me, it just seemed like it was going to look really good on Ada. I think just because it's so angular, like the barn or the house or whatever it is. Very geometric. And so far, I do really like how it looks on the Ada. So this is an 18 count. So I'm excited to get more progress on that. There's no hurry for this one. Obviously, I just started it, so it's going to be hanging around for a long time, but and then my other new start, I have two more. One was another one from one of these magazines. And so this one was from the December 2021 issue of Just Cross Stitch. And let me find the picture of it. Okay, so this is the picture. And I just love this design. I'm not sure if I'm going to turn it into a box like they did or something else, but it's so beautiful. It's called Merry Christmas to All by Natalie Luneva. So I have a small start on this one. So this is a 32 count linen I dyed myself. I tried to make it like the picture. It didn't come out quite the same, but I was happy with it. And yeah, for some reason the pattern, like clearly they used an over-dyed floss for these deer. I mean, that's very obvious in the photo, but it's not listed in the called for threads. It's just listed as like a brown DMC. So I just pulled, I think it's Gentle Arts Sable from my stash, and I'm using that for the deer, and I think it turned out really nice. So I got a decent start on that one. It's not huge. And then my last new start is a big one, a big project. I did post about this one on Instagram. And I made a special project bag for it, which I'll show quickly. So this is a quilt block that I had thrifted last winter sometime. And I decided to turn it into this project bag. The back of it just has ornaments. And I made it pretty big because this is a big project. It has a lot of floss. This is Mirabilia Christmas Elegance. And I'm starting this with Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe. This is actually my first Mirabilia. I have stitched a lavender and lace, but I never actually stitched a Mirabilia, so I'm really excited to dive into this new adventure. Here is what I have so far. It's like a really, really small start. So I am in the middle where her gloves are. So these are just the beginning of her gloves. I decided to use a really sparkly opalescent fabric. This is a 32 count Lugana. The color is Brandywine. The store I got this from is called Needlework. I think it's called Needlework with Jim on Etsy. And when I originally got this fabric, I didn't know what to do with it. It is very dramatic opalescence. But for something like a Mirabilia, I just decided go big or go home. I also auditioned a similar, you know, there's that website where you can see what the Mirabilias will look like on different backgrounds. So I used that and found like kind of a similar color on that site to see what this was gonna maybe look like. And I really liked it. So hopefully this turns out being the right choice. But it is comfortable to stitch on. So far I'm enjoying it. Oh yeah, one other thing I just wanted to mention briefly. Stephanie and Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe had mentioned me on one of their Flosstube extras that they did a couple weeks ago that was about cross stitching beyond craft store hoops, because they were discussing different kinds of stands or frames, different equipment that people use for stitching that are not just your standard hoop that you would get at a craft store. So they did mention me, and I want to thank them so much for mentioning me, because I do use an embroidery stand, and I haven't mentioned it in a while. And just as a quick recap, because I do know I have gotten more subscribers the past few videos, just like a 2-minute recap of what I used to stitch. So I use a couple different kinds of embroidery stands, and then I also use these. They're called twin pointed needles, and they're made by the John James Company. They come 3 in a pack. I prefer the size 26. I have tried the 28s. I had problems with them snapping, so I prefer the 26, but I have been able to use the 26s on 40 count. Haven't really had an issue with that. And the difference between a twin pointed needle and other needles, you can see it in this kind of big diagram here, is that the hole is in the center, and they're a little bit longer than your average needle, and they have a point at both ends, of course, which means that you don't have to rotate your wrist when you're using them. So I am a big fan. I'm sure many of you have used them before too, but I just wanted to, you know, mention that again, just in case anyone was curious. But this is one of the type of stands that I use. As you can see, it has a very broad base, because I like to just sit it on my lap when I'm lounging. And I like these because the hoop is really big. The other nice thing is that this part goes up and down, so you can adjust the angle. My one hand is under, and then my other hand is on top. So I actually have 2 of these. It is my preferred stand. And I know there are similar ones on the market. Like now, this specific one I think might have been discontinued, but... And then the other type of stand is a Morgan hoop stand. So the Morgan hoops, I have 2 of these. One of them is larger than the other one. This is the small one. You can see it has a hoop on the bottom and a hoop on the top. So you can, you know, depending on the size of your fabric, you can use whichever side is more comfortable. It's interesting, you know, when I was stitching my ornament, I actually rigged up a little makeshift system for putting this onto one of my Morgan stands, and I'll show you a picture of that. And I was able to do the two-handed stitching on the perforated paper that way. And it works pretty well. I mean, it wasn't, I guess it wasn't like as comfortable as stitching on fabric, obviously, but it worked out pretty well. Okay, so that was my little spiel about the twin pointed needles. I basically use these exclusively now. It is pretty rare for me to use a Q-snap anymore. Sometimes if I'm traveling, what have you, stuff like that. Or if the fabric really, you know, if this would not work for the fabric because it was too stiff or something. Because these, since the hole is in the center, they have the potential to be a little bit more brittle than your average sewing or stitching needle. But for the most part, I really do just use them exclusively now, and I've been using them, I think, since like February. So thank you to Cross Stitch the Globe for mentioning me. Okay, so those are my new starts. And let me see. So my plans are pretty simple. My big plan is probably to finish the winter sampler since I am getting pretty close. Like I said, I would like to have this done by the new year or even earlier if possible. And I'm not gonna pressure myself to just like do the border all at once because I don't want to burn out on it. I think I'm just gonna do a little bit at a time. But even like that, if I do it maybe like 20-30 minutes a day, it'll be done, you know, within the next couple months. So that's one of my main plans. And then I would potentially like to do a couple of other starts for the holiday season. One of them is the Mistletoe Manor by Pansy Patch. Because I have this, I have it kitted with the called for. The other one I have kitted is the primitive Hare, and it's called the Old Winter. So I have the fabric for this. I have it all already in a project bag, and I've had it for a couple months. So I would like to get a start on that this holiday season. And then my other plan really is to focus on Christmas Elegance for November. So if I can make some significant progress on that for this month, that would be great. All right, so that covers my whips and my starts. And now, oh yeah, I will do the giveaways now. This is my first time doing a giveaway, but I did want to celebrate 1,000 subscribers. So I have like 4 things. They're patterns. The first one is Lavender and Lace Spring. And this is the one I'm going to say is open to anyone. So it can be US or it can be international. Because I can use an international letter stamp to send this. So if you are interested in winning this, please use the word spring in your comment. So that one is the only one that is open worldwide. The rest of these are US only. So one of the nice things about going through all my magazines was that I discovered I had a duplicate. So this was an extra one. This is the April 2022 issue of Just Cross Stitch. So if you don't have this one and you're interested in it, please use the word April in your comment. US only. This is another one I had a duplicate of, Prairie Schooler Harvest Time. This comes with 3 patterns. I'm actually working on this turkey, so if you want to work on it with me, feel free. Or there's this really cute village up here. But US only, and if you would like to win this one, please use the word harvest in your comment. And then the last one, I don't know if anyone's going to be interested in this, but, you know, this is a Paul Yvonne pattern. It's called Summer Welcome. And it is a very pretty one. So, you know, these are huge projects, but, you know, you might want to add it to your stash. So if you are interested and you live in the US, please use the word summer in your comment. So once again, code word summer, code word harvest, code word April, and then code word spring. And this is the only one that anyone internationally or domestically can enter. So I'll say all of the things that everyone else says on their videos for giveaways, which is be over the age of 18 so that you can give me your mailing address, and don't use any trigger words like giveaway, win, free. Don't use those in your comment because it will attract trolls. And then the only other thing I'll say is that the only way you will know if you win is if I announce it in my next video. So you have to watch that video or you're not going to know. I am not going to respond to your comment that you won just because, you know, that's the way scammers operate. So if someone says that you win in the comments, you know it's a lie. The only way you're going to hear about it is if I say it in my next video. So please be a subscriber and please tune in to that next video to see if you won my very first giveaway. I think that's all I need to say about that. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone who has subscribed. That last video I did in October, yeah, for some reason that got a lot more views than normal. I guess the algorithm was like in my favor that day. So thank you so much for, you know, supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Okay. I have like one piece of haul and then I will move into my like save the stitches and dimensions kit thing. So my only piece of haul, I had found a stash of fabric over the summer, and one of them was like labeled with what it was originally for. So it looked like this. It looks like this. It has polka dots. It's a linen. And like the original owner had put the name of the pattern in there that it was intended for, and there was also this. So I was like, well, that's interesting. I'm just gonna go like look up what that pattern is, and if it's cool, you know, since I already have the fabric, I should just get it and do it. So I did look it up. And it's this Sam Sarah Mystery Sampler. The problem was that it came out in 3 parts in 2014, and it's out of print. It is really hard to find a full set, and you have to have all 3. They don't print the whole thing in the last one. You have to have all 3 installments. So I had just been keeping an eye on eBay, I think, yeah, since the summer, just in case it ever popped up at a good price. And it really didn't for a long time. But then I finally found it, obviously, because I'm holding it right now. So I was really excited that I was able to snag this. It has all the parts in there. It is a little bit like highlighted and marked up, but it's still readable. So yeah, unfortunately I got it after Halloween's already over, but it's so cool. You know, I might try to get a start on this anyway. Like, I love this pumpkin that's on its side. Yeah, it's really zany. So that was really my only piece of haul. And yeah, so now I have the fabric, I got the patterns. I'm just gonna hold on to that and maybe get a start on it. So now I will move into my Save the Stitches. The first thing I'll show, this is actually a crewel embroidery. The only reason I'm showing it is because it is like appropriate for the fall season. And after that I have a cross stitch to show. But here is the embroidery. This is one of the nicest one of these I've ever found. It's huge. The colors are gorgeous. And you just gotta take a look at this cauliflower, like the texturing on here. It's, it's really neat. But anyway, I just wanted to show that because it's so like harvest time, fall, that kind of thing. This does need some TLC. Like, I should probably reframe this at some point. I won't show you the back. It looks pretty bad. There is a little bit of water damage on the back panel. So I would like to reframe this and display it. But I just think this is gorgeous. Okay, and now for the big one. So this is a cross stitch. It's a dimensions kit. The name of the kit is Valley of the River Beck. And here is what it looks like. You know, I cannot believe the detail on this. This is beautiful. Coincidentally, this print I have hanging up here, the really big one, is the same artist, Carl Valent, or Valente. I'm not sure how you say that, but it is the same artwork, or like artist. It's not the same painting. That one is the village of Selworthy, and this is Valley of the River Beck. But it's the same style, you know, just this really gorgeous country scene. And I mean, someone took this Dimensions kit very seriously. They did all of the instructions with, as far as like strands of floss, various techniques being used. They did it all. And it's just exceptional. And I absolutely love having this on the wall. And it just makes me feel like I'm in a fantasy world every time I look at it. So I did not stitch this. I think that's obvious from the way I've been talking about it, but this is my like save the stitches segment where I show one that I have like thrifted or found antiquing, etc., etc. So this is one that I picked up secondhand, and it's one of my favorites. So yeah, from further back, yeah, you can just like imagine you're there. Okay, so anyway, this kind of inspired me to aggregate all of my Dimensions kits, sort of similarly to what I did with the magazines, because I had a bunch of them scattered around. I've never done a Dimensions kit before, but I have a bunch of them that I've collected over the last like year and a half. I find them out thrifting occasionally. So some of them are like the small ones, the petites, and then some of them are bigger. So I'm just going to go through and show them to you. I mean, if you're not interested in a Dimensions kit parade, then you're not going to miss anything after this. So thank you if you made it this far in my video. But if you want to see some Dimensions eye candy, then stick around. Okay, so I'll start with like the smaller ones. It's the one with the animals. Fantastic Creatures. Yeah, this one didn't have the original packaging, but it had all of this stuff. I love this one. Quiet Night. Yeah, it seemed to have everything except the fabric. It had the threads in here, but and the pattern. So I think I could do that one. This is, I'm not really into lighthouses, but you never know. So this was the Mariner's Light. And these are two kind of like weird ones from the 90s. So they're called Dimensions Banners. This one I actually do really like, with the birds. I think that's really sweet. So yeah, they were complete. They even have the metal fixture here. So those were like the small ones. Let me just grab the bigger ones. Sorry. Oh, My phone almost fell. Sorry about that. Okay, so this one. It's a lot of birds. ABC bird sampler. I kind of think this one's cool because you could always just pick out the birds and use them for something else. This is an older one. It's a stocking. Trying to reorganize here a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that's really cute. Christmas Remembered stocking. Okay, and this one is my absolute favorite of the ones that I have, and the one that I would love to start. Maybe coming home for the holidays. Yeah, this is the one that I might start. It's got all the stuff. Kitten in the Window. That one's really delicate looking. I only have a few more. Kitty Litter. Peaceful Evening Stocking. Sorry there's so much glare on these. It's just the plastic is very reflective. I haven't stitched a stocking yet. I would love to. Sweet Nectar. This is based on some kind of plate design. I think it was originally like a collector's plate, commemorative plate, which you can kind of tell, but it's really nice. And then the only other ones I have are the Charles Wysocki, like country scenes type thing. Wysocki's Orchard. Antique Shops. Riverbank Train Station. Summer Street Scene. And Amish Farm. I found all of those at the same time one day. Somebody had gotten rid of them. So those were my Dimensions kits. Every now and then I just come upon them out thrifting and stuff, but like I said, this is probably the one I am most likely to get a start on at some point. Although to tell you the truth, I also really like this one. But we'll see. I've got a lot of really big projects right now. So let me just make sure that's all I had to say. Yeah, I think that covered everything for today, and it looks like I am finishing up here at around the 50-minute mark, so that's not bad. So once again, thank you so much if you spent any time with me today. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Bye.